Hey, what's up, guys? This is James Robertson with Workspace Real Estate, and today I'm talking about how to negotiate the best deal possible on a lease renewal. So, I want to do a daily vlog that I get to share experience and information with people that have leases that need to either find new space, they need to relocate, or just do anything regarding commercial lease space within the greater Texas market. So one of the questions is how to get a great deal on a lease renewal or just a relocation flat out. And the first thing that you have to have is leverage. Leverage is tremendously important. It's the difference between playing poker and bluffing, and having that look on your face that you're serious and you can just feel that there are other options out there. I'm going to tell you a quick story that relates this to the car industry. So if you have someone that's looking for a car, and I'll tell you that something that affected me when I was very young, the first car that I purchased, I was dropped off at the dealership. So that meant that these guys saw just a naive guy coming. So I was dropped off. They knew I was going to get a car. I paid the highest possible price I could have for that Nissan Altima that I purchased right out of college. My parents warned me, James, look, take your time. You don't have to rush this. But I was just dead set on getting a car that day, and I paid the price for it. People in the business of selling, when they have a product, they are very used to seeing that traffic. They know how to handle it, and they can sense when you want something. So the first step is making sure that you have options and you're willing to walk away from a deal. And it's not just saying that you're going to walk away if you don't get what you want. They're very used to that too. It's the inner strength, the signals that you give off subconsciously that I don't have to have this. And the only way in the 10 years I've been doing this that we've been able to consistently replicate that type of sentiment is having options. So when you're out there, make sure that when you see something that you like, it's okay to be excited about it, but don't give the impression that you have to have this property. The landlord will find out whether or not they let you know that, and you're going to pay the price for it. So get other options. Make sure that you can live without anything that you choose. For most people in the Houston market, you're going to have at least 2 or 3 different spaces that should all work well for you. Unless you're a 40,000 square foot user or larger in some of these office or industrial buildings, you will have about 2 or 3 options that could work. So because that's the case, you're able to negotiate and push different concessions to see who's going to give you the best deal. So here's my next tip on how to get the greatest deal that you can when you're doing a lease renewal or relocation. You need to understand the market. And what I mean by that is you need to understand what the high rent rates are and what the low rent rates are for that building class. There are typically 3 classes of buildings. A-class buildings, which are the Exxon, Shell buildings that you see, just the ones that are extremely nice. Then you have Class B, which are roughly about half that size. And you have Class C, which are the boxer property types. They're about 4 to 10 stories. They're the ones that are cheaper, don't look as nice as the other ones, and they're typically older buildings as well. So once you know your classes, you know your highs and your lows, and you can talk to your local broker to get that information. You can try to search online for it as well. And last but not least, you need to know which buildings are willing to deal with you. I can't stress enough, and it's very difficult for most of you to find this out on your own, but for those of us that are constantly talking to building owners, we know which buildings are up for refinance. We know which buildings are really, really motivated to get tenants because they're in trouble. Those type of opportunities allow for us to get some pretty amazing deals. I can tell you guys right now of 2 examples on the 610 loop where we're getting as much as almost a year free rent for a 5 and a 7 year lease term for a business that can save them up to $90,000, and that's just for a 2,000 square foot tenant. If you're a 5,000 square foot tenant, I mean that's over 6 figures that you're saving on concessions alone. And that's I'm not even talking about the rates that we're able to get there. But I'm not just pushing those concessions on any building I'm looking at. I'm actually going to very specific owners that I know have a need and they're willing to pay. And I also know the floor and how low they can go. So I have to sum this up by saying knowledge is power. That's the greatest asset you can use. Negotiations is not rocket science, okay? So while I think that we are all good negotiators in this business, I really feel like most people that get the best deals, they know where to push, they know when to push, and they know how far to push. So all of those points can be very easily identified if you're working with someone that's knowledgeable in the industry. So I always recommend, if you need help on legal issues, you get a commercial real estate attorney. A commercial real estate broker is good to negotiate the deal points, but we're not talking about that now. I want to talk about, hopefully on a daily basis, tips and tricks that can help you guys move forward and just save money and save time on getting these spaces. So this is James signing off. Thank you for watching.